Hi friends, this is your friend Dr. Sujata Naik, once again welcoming you to your own channel, Dr. Sujata Naik's Wellness. Today we are going to talk about a very burning problem in today's time, and that is obesity. And because this is such a huge topic and with such huge ramifications, I'm going to talk to you about this in three parts. So in the first part, I'm going to tell you, discuss and share with you on the reasons for obesity and why obesity has become such an epidemic all over the world today. It is something which has reached in such mammoth proportions that practically every person who's overweight is now undergoing huge psychological issues, including depression, loss of self-esteem, loss of self-confidence, a loss of so-called reduced stature in society. So everything is linked with weight these days. And the kind of models that you see on screen, on televisions, on in Bollywood films and Hollywood films, and they are the ideal zero-figure models. And if we come nowhere close near them, imagine how miserable a person feels, because everything is somehow linked with that perfect figure. And today I'm going to try and bust some myths about why you need not have a perfect figure to have perfect health, and why a perfect figure is not necessarily the sign of good health, and why being a little overweight is not really a sign of any kind of disease. Nevertheless, let's just go through the definition of obesity. Obesity, classically, obesity being a medical condition, actually, it's a pathological condition, and it signifies being 20% overweight than what an ideal weight of an average person would be, or a BMI which is more than 30% of your weight. So that is classical obesity. About 90% of people who think they are obese are not really obese, they are just overweight. And overweight, you can be about 5% more than your normal weight, you can be 10% more than your normal weight, or even 15% more than your normal weight, but you're not really classically obese until you reach that figure where you're more than 20% overweight, which then becomes a medical condition and which cannot be tackled by lifestyle changes alone. Today we'll talk about both the problems, and a lot of these are synonymous with each other. Though I would say that classical obesity is something that we should keep aside and talk about increase in weight gain, which is one of the big menaces for people today. Is that why is that this generation more overweight than the previous one? Why is it that we have more difficulty in tackling our weights, our increased weights, than what the previous generation did? And the more we talk about healthy diets, because modern lifestyle has given us access to so many things. Now over the net, over social media, communication has become so much simpler. We have more access to health foods. And paradoxically, the more access we have to health foods, the more the problem of obesity is on the rise. So which means that it is not just, there's more to it than meets the eye. And we must know why this population is getting more obese than its predecessors. So let's just look at the very broad classification of being overweight and why this happens. The foremost reason which I think and which I have observed over so many years of my experience with patients who come to us with overweight is one most important is genetic predisposition. A lot of people are genetically predisposed to being overweight, and it could be because there is a certain kind of a gene pattern which predisposes them, and no matter what they do, they are not able to lose weight. But not every obese person or not every overweight person is prone to illnesses. There are people who have been constantly overweight and leading perfectly healthy lives. Though statistically speaking, if you're more than 10% of your normal weight, then your predisposition to cardiovascular illnesses, to diabetes, to hypertension, to hormonal disorders is on the rise. Though conversely, these conditions also lead to obesity to some extent. So it becomes a vicious cycle. So the reason one is genetic, second is racial. Now there is a certain class, certain type of race which is more predisposed to weight gain, and certain types which are inherently lean to begin with. So one need not really stress about the fact if your family, if your uncles, aunts and everybody in your clan has been overweight, and if you are also born overweight and are overweight, one should not stress too much about it. It is rather the difference in the weight that you had from 5 years ago to now. That should be a matter of concern. For example, if a person is 50 kilos at the age of 25 and becomes, say, 70 kilos by the time he reaches 35, then that becomes a matter of concern. Or a woman who says that her pre-pregnancy weight was, say, 55, and after her pregnancy she was not able to lose the weight that she gained, so she's about 80 kilos now and she's not able to lose it. So then that becomes something that needs to be treated. So it is basically the difference in weight which makes you, which you can classify as being overweight, and not being overweight from the beginning. So a person who is always been chubby, a little on the stout side, need not stress about it if he is otherwise healthy. So that's the second reason. The third reason is lifestyle. We know that in this era of Swiggy and Zomato and everything is made to our, is just at the fingertip. You can just order food anytime you like. And the kind of restaurants and the food options that have mushroomed over the past 10 years, with a lot of options for people to eat whatever they like. Most of the food that is available outside in restaurants is highly processed. It has to have some preservative, it has to have some food colors, some additives. A lot of dairy products and meat products are also injected with growth hormones. The cattle and the animals which have been fed or have been injected with growth hormones, so with the result that the meat and the dairy also contains a lot of growth hormones. So you see, children also, there's a lot of childhood obesity now, which is again a matter of concern. So this is one more reason, lifestyle. And then of course the sedentary lifestyle that most youngsters are now leading. You don't want to walk, you have vehicles at your disposal, you want to sit at your computer, at your laptop with your mobile all the time. People then, this is very important. One more thing I have noticed is that this generation is not sleeping enough. And when you don't sleep enough, then the hormones known as the leptin and the ghrelin, there's a disconnect between these hormones, leading to abnormal cravings, especially for sweets and farinaceous food. That leads to increased weight gain. So earlier generation, I mean much before, maybe a couple of generations before this, used to sleep by, a little after sunset and then get up before sunrise, and that used to keep them healthy. Nowadays, children are sitting up in artificial light through the night, not sleeping until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And then with the kind of lifestyle that they do with this sedentary life, not really playing enough, not going outdoors, not going out in the sun. Vitamin D is one more reason why, lack of vitamin D is one more reason which predisposes to weight gain. So this is the lifestyle induced factor is the most important factor. And of course certain medications, which again can lead to weight gain, especially steroids, immunosuppressive drugs, antidepressants, hormonal tablets, the certain anti-infectives, antibiotics taken for a long period of time can also make you put on weight. So these, in short, are all the reasons why people are putting on weight, and obesity is becoming such an epidemic. In our next video, we will talk about how to tackle these challenges towards weight gain, and what we can do to inculcate certain healthy habits from the beginning so that this menace does not crop up at all, and some tips for people who are overweight and who really want to give up, shed that extra weight just to be healthy. So bye for now, and see you very soon in the next episode of Wellness. Bye-bye.